Welcome back to another Explainer. Today, we're taking a deep dive into some truly fascinating source material around a concept called Ikigai. Our goal? Figuring out how you can live a longer, way more fulfilling life. I am absolutely pumped to guide you through this. We're going to take some pretty abstract, philosophical ideas and ground them in cold, hard data and everyday actionable habits. So if you've ever woken up and thought, man, what is the actual point of my daily grind? Stick around because you are in exactly the right place.
It's the million-dollar question, isn't it? What's the secret to a long and happy life? We all ask ourselves this, especially when we're feeling burnt out or just kind of lacking purpose. I mean, we look around at our modern world and it's just moving at a million miles an hour, right? It's full of stress, endless digital distractions, massive to-do lists, and we just have to wonder, is this really it? Is this the best way to live? We tend to chase happiness through promotions, the newest gadgets, or flashy vacations, but so often that deep, lasting contentment just stays completely out of reach. But what if the secret isn't about piling more complex stuff onto our plates? What if it's actually about unlocking a very specific, ancient sense of alignment?
To get to the bottom of this, we're going to dive straight into the insights from an incredible piece of source material, Ikigai, the Japanese secret to a long and happy life. This book meticulously unpacks a really powerful lifestyle framework that originated in Japan. It essentially takes us by the hand, leads us far away from our relentless, always-on hustle culture, and drops us right into the heart of communities where people aren't just surviving past 100 years old, they're thriving, they're smiling, they're active every single day. So how does this actually work? Well, imagine your life's purpose as a massive puzzle made up of 4 intersecting circles. What you love, what you're really good at, what you can actually get paid for, and, crucially, what the world needs. The magic happens right where all these things overlap. It's not a simple checklist. It's more like a map of different tensions in your life. Think about it. If you only do what you love and what the world needs, that's a brilliant, beautiful mission, but you might not be able to pay the bills. On the flip side, if you only do what you're paid for and what you're good at, sure, you've got a comfortable profession, but you're probably going to feel pretty empty at the end of the day. The sheer genius of this framework is that it demands we find a way to balance all 4 of those spheres. And when all 4 of those elements overlap perfectly right in the center, that's when you achieve your Ikigai. Roughly translated, this means your reason for being. It's literally the reason you jump out of bed in the morning. It's the ultimate sweet spot, guys. It means you aren't sacrificing your financial stability for your passion, and you definitely aren't selling your soul just to get a paycheck. You're grounded, you're purposeful, and you're deeply, authentically aligned with the world around you. Okay, so here's our roadmap for this explainer. First, discovering your Ikigai. Second, the Okinawa longevity proof. Third, finding your flow. Fourth, lessons from the centenarians. And finally, number 5, diet, movement, and life. Let's get right into it. Section 1, discovering your Ikigai. We really have to start by understanding the foundational mindset you need to discover your personal reason for getting out of bed. Because, let's be honest, finding your Ikigai isn't some magical lightning bolt that just hits you while you're waiting for the bus. It takes a deliberate, psychological approach. You have to look inward and ask yourself some genuinely tough questions about what drives you. The sources show us that discovering your Ikigai actually shares deep roots with psychological concepts like logotherapy and meritotherapy. Logotherapy, which was pioneered by Viktor Frankl, suggests that as humans, we're driven primarily by a will to meaning. So if you feel empty inside, you're essentially having a crisis of meaning. Then, meritotherapy builds on that. It teaches us to just accept our emotions instead of fighting them all the time, and to channel our energy into purposeful action instead. The big takeaway here? True mental resilience comes from having a clear purpose. You need something tangible to live for, no matter what kind of emotional weather you happen to be experiencing that day. Section 2, the Okinawan longevity proofs. Now, you might be wondering, does all this abstract philosophy actually translate to a longer physical lifespan? Because sure, it's one thing to feel good mentally, but claiming a philosophy can literally keep your cells ticking longer, that is a bold statement. Well, mapping life expectancy from 1960 to the year 2000 actually gives us the answer. When we look at the data for Okinawa over those decades, it is just consistently climbing. It absolutely proves that the people of Okinawa are living remarkably longer lives than the rest of the world. And honestly, it's a bit of a reality check when you see how the United States falls noticeably behind, even trailing places like Sweden. We're not just talking about a slight statistical blip here. This is a massive multi-generational trend. It's an entire population outliving the rest of the developed world.
When you really break down those year 2000 numbers, the contrast is completely stark. The Okinawan lifestyle pushes their average life expectancy remarkably close to age 85. The rest of Japan follows pretty closely behind that, but then you've got places like Sweden and the United States trailing below age 80. Just put that into perspective for a second. Think about what 5 to 10 extra years of healthy, active life actually means. It means watching your great-grandchildren grow up. It is undeniable proof that whatever's happening in Okinawa, whether it's their environment, their habits, their ikigai, it's creating a profound, measurable biological advantage.
Section 3. Finding your flow. Let's see how this all builds into the everyday psychological state of these centenarians, which brings us to the concept of flow. You see, having an ikigai isn't just about having this one grand overarching life mission. It's really about how you experience the individual minute-by-minute moments of your day. The sources tell us that whether you're an engineer, an everyday worker, or a takami, those legendary master craftsmen in Japan, mastering your ikigai means you have to hit 7 specific conditions to achieve total, joyous immersion in whatever it is you're doing. Flow is that amazing state where time just seems to completely vanish. You're so absorbed in your task that your ego just dissolves. To get there, you need a clear goal, immediate feedback, and a perfect balance between how challenging the task is and what your current skills are. When you can find that flow in your daily work, your ikigai stops being just a theory on a whiteboard and becomes a real, lived reality. There's this incredible quote straight from the Masters of Longevity section of the material that really hits the nail on the head. It says, "Eat and sleep and you'll live a long time. You have to learn to relax." This reminds us of something absolutely vital. Finding your flow doesn't mean frantic, burnout-level hustle. It's fundamentally about a focused, relaxed engagement with life. Here in the West, we so often equate purpose with total exhaustion, right? We think if we aren't burning the candle at both ends, we just aren't trying hard enough. But the centenarians of Japan are teaching us the exact opposite. Their flow is gentle, it's sustainable. You literally have to learn to relax into your purpose.
Section 4. Lessons from the centenarians.
Now let's pull some direct, highly actionable lessons from the everyday habits of the oldest, happiest people on Earth. We're moving from the psychology of flow straight into the streets and homes of the people living this out every single day. The residents of Okimi, which is famously known as the town where people live longest, actually wrote down this precise step-by-step declaration for a good life. And just look at how beautifully simple it is. It starts right out of the gate with number 1, don't worry. Then number 2, cultivate good habits. Number 3 is massive, nurture your friendships every day. That's all about deep, daily connection with your community. Then number 4, live an unhurried life. And finally, number 5, be optimistic. Notice anything missing? There is zero mention of becoming a billionaire or getting famous here. The greatest longevity experts in the world are literally telling us that the secret is community, optimism, and just slowing down. And it's so fascinating how this advice pairs living in an unhurried, optimistic life with the strict necessity of keeping your mind and body actively engaged. It says, if you keep your mind and body busy, you'll be around a long time. Notice the balance there. Unhurried does not mean lazy. Relaxed absolutely does not mean inactive. These folks never truly retire in the traditional Western sense of the word. They keep their hands busy with gardening, their minds busy with learning, and their schedules completely filled with community gatherings. They make sure they remain vitally important to their community right up until the very end.
Section 5. Diet, movement, and life.
Finally, we have to explore the physical pillars that actually support this lifestyle. We need to talk about what they consume and how they move. Because, let's face it, you can have all the purpose in the world, but if your physical vessel isn't taken care of, you just can't express that ikigai fully. The sources highlight that extending your life involves an antioxidant-rich diet and gentle daily movements. And honestly, here's the absolute best part. They describe this as being as simple and accessible as literally just getting out of your chair. We are not talking about running ultramarathons or doing punishing CrossFit routines every morning. No way. We're talking about walking, gardening, doing some simple radio taiso stretching exercises, and eating a super varied diet rich in vegetables, tofu, and green tea. It's a philosophy of accumulation. It's about making small, healthy, gentle choices that compound over 8 or 9 decades. Consider this really quirky, fun metaphor of the rabbit, which the text uses beautifully to describe outrunning the physical effects of time. They call it aging's escape velocity. Think about a rabbit in the wild. It doesn't survive by being the biggest, baddest, or strongest beast in the forest, right? It survives by being agile, alert, and constantly in motion. By combining your ikigai, your community, your diet, and that gentle movement we just talked about, you're essentially adopting the agility of that rabbit.
You are keeping your momentum just fast enough to continuously escape the rapid decline of aging. As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one final thought to spark your own journey. We've looked at the data, we've heard directly from the centenarians, and we really understand the framework now. So the only question left is for you. What fills your intersecting circles of passion, mission, vocation, and profession? What is that one thing that's going to get you out of your chair, into a state of flow, and happily engaged with the world for the next 100 years? Take some time today to actually draw those circles out for yourself. You might just find exactly what you've been looking for all along.